Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Liam Murphy, trying to win my fourth best ball tournament today. Some of the last best ball tournaments we'll be doing. This is my 150th team on Drafters, which of course is total points weeks 1 through 17. Drafters is sitting at 134 out of 187. Call it 71% filled. The last drafts are today, tomorrow, and whatever they can get in before Thursday. So probably going to overlay. You can use promo code Cheslium for a $100 deposit match on Drafters. Ooh, Jamar Chase for our last one. Let's do it. Why not? Why not? I think something gets settled today. Either Jamar Chase gets a new contract, which again, he has a couple of years on the deal, 2 years, I believe. Or he practices. We'll let the people stroll in here. Jamar 8 is fun. Yeah, I'm sure there's been some crazy things with Jamar. I'm in 80 slow drafts. I did over 60 drafts yesterday. It's that time of year. Procrastinated my DK Millies. I have, let's see, 30 left in the DK Millie. To pair with Chase, why not? Jahmyr Gibbs. Seems good to me. 30 left in the DK Millie. 39 left in the marathon. Do think I'll max both those contests. We're going to do some marathon streams after that for Total Points Tuesday. Yeah, doing batches of 20 fast drafts on desktop is very easy on Underdog. There's zero latency issues. It's just very easy to click through. On DK, I have to do it on my phone. There's too much latency where it literally won't load the draft in time for me to multi-table. And also, since I'm in 50 slow drafts, it's just a jumble of drafts where if you don't have any slow drafts going on, it's not too bad on your phone where you can see the number ticking down for how many picks you are away. Kind of lets you like jump in there, put players in your queue and whatnot. But when you have slow drafts going on, there's no way of discerning the difference. So just mayhem. But yeah, on Underdog, very easy. If you guys want to chase this overlay on Drafters, promo code Chesley, and we're going to be giving away a free ticket here soon. I wrote about this, Ben, actually. T. Higgins versus Waddle and Devonta. Devonta has been falling. The casual late August, early September crowd, they hate a couple players. They hate Zay Flowers. I personally think Zay Flowers is a 3-4 turn type of player. Year 2 player, attached to an elite offense. Mark Andrews, not always a clean bill of health, a little bit older, not a lot of target competition. Came on hot down the stretch. You can get Zay Flowers in the 5th round often now. Crazy. No, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this again. You are banned from winning today due to that stint you pulled the other day. Anyone but Wookie can win the free ticket when we do it. Am I ready for some football? Hell yeah, I'm ready for some football. I'm gonna be drafting up until I just because I know the casual crowd hates Zay, we're not taking him here. I think Tank is a good pick. I think ending with a Josh Allen team is always in the cards. Let's go Tank and try to get Josh here. Tolan, friend of mine, got 5th last year in drafters, says 8 more. He only did 2 last year, got 5th. Took a step up. He's maxing it this year. Zaire Addison in Dynasty PPR. I mean, I think in Dynasty, it's even more in Zay's court because Addison's shown himself to be an idiot. And so you got a little bit of risk there with him just like going the Sammy Watkins route. Where, I mean, Sammy Watkins was going to practice drunk. I don't think Addison is that level of unprofessional. And I think today's NFL teams do probably a better job managing that. But, the decision making Addison has shown is incredibly poor. Any conviction for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, or Defensive Rookie of the Year? Wow, they did it to us. I mean, suck it, haters. We got Zay. We got Zay anyways. Brock. Let's see. MVP. Just realize what MVP is. It's a sham bet. MVP until we see different. I'm sure there will be one year where they do it different, where everyone's like, we know what it is. MVP will always be the QB of the team with the best record. And when it's at all close, it's the better fantasy player. So, for example, Lamar won. Lamar really didn't have that impressive of a year stat-wise. His team was good. His team was awesome. But that's not a Lamar individual thing. Brock Purdy was defensible, but it's Brock Purdy and not Lamar. So that's why Lamar won. Obviously, the MVP should have been someone like CMC, Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen, and Hurts, I would accept. Hurts had a great year. Then he hurt his knee and some rain came down. Come on now. Rookie of the Year. If you're not betting Marvin, Neighbors, or Rome, seems pretty thin. I think you could I think Worthy is a pretty good bet too. Especially if Rice were to get suspended, his odds would go up. He would need to have 1,000 to 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, but could see that. I wouldn't pick any of the running backs. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know, man. Maybe the dude who went to the Vikings. Maybe he'll have a good sack year. I really have no idea there. Yeah, the timers are speeding up. I'm in 50 DK drafts, and it's 10 minutes today. I think it's 2 minutes tomorrow, so you're about to get wild. Let's go James Cook. We didn't go Josh, so we go James Cook. I think Gibbs, Cook, Achane, I've said this a lot, but these are the type of running backs I want. Young, explosive pass catchers. Capable of huge fantasy games. How do you feel about Jaden Reed? I like Jaden Reed. He's pretty free too. I'm higher than the market on Jaden Reed. The two Packers players I draft a lot are Jaden Reed and Christian Watson. Trying to bet on Jordan Love, passing game. Trying to bet on the players who I think are the most talented. I think Romeo Doubs is the least talented, but he could have a good year. And Wicks, I think, will have some huge games. And if he's a full-time player, maybe he could have a big year. Obviously injury contingent upside to everyone there. But yeah, I want those players. I especially want them in something like BBM5, the DK Millie Maker, because the Packers play the Vikings week 17, and their secondary is woeful. Romer Malik, better career. I mean, Malik is unquestionably, I think, on par with like a Jamar Chase level player. Um, yeah, let's go Jaden Reed here. A little bit of NFC North correlation here. Gibbs and Reed. Gives us a week 10 bye, 2 week 14s. You know, like I think they're both gonna have good careers. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of energy there. You got it, man. That's what we do here. You know, a lot of people they just want to feed you things. I like to think that I'm also teaching you how to fish. So, and I'm going to be wrong, right? Like, for example, I don't really draft Saquon. I don't really draft Derrick Henry. Have I drafted them? Never, no. But it's very rare I draft these players. I mean, pretty great price on Derrick Henry here. Like 4-5 turn, yeah, I'm into Derrick Henry there. But anyways, if you agree with most of what I say and you've learned, you know, just strategy and you disagree with me about a player, go ahead. You draft that player, you know, take other parts of my strategy and you got a good chance to win if you're right about the player. So we like to do over at beatbestball.com. So yeah, we'll be doing best ball. I'll start doing underdog week 1 drafts probably Friday. Probably have one more best ball stream tomorrow, but I don't know. Wow, Khalil Shakir pick 72. Pretty bold there. If you guys like these streams, like and subscribe. I'm close to 6K, guys. Help me out. Only 300 people. So far, our team is Gibbs, Cook, Chase, Tank, Flowers, Reed. You know, my opinion on Jamar Chase, pretty low chance he doesn't play week 1. Extremely low chance he doesn't play week 2 against the Chiefs. Their schedule's pretty easy, though, so, like, if they really wanted to, they could play hardball. Yeah. Keon. Would have liked Watson to do the double Packers thing, but a little bit of wide receiver running back correlation there. Drafters is a total points contest only, weeks 1 through 17. And it also overlays usually. We're going to be doing Underdog next, which they also might overlay in some contests. So promo code Chesley any of the sites. Paul, we'll talk about week 1 content later. But the obvious game is Miami Jags. Yeah, there was a couple weeks where Adonai Mitchell was in the 170s. I looked at a lot of my drafters teams. A lot of them are dead. You can build some monsters in today's landscape. But also a lot of them are sick. So, I mean, I guess we kind of pull Joe Burrow up here. Joe Burrow is one of my, like, comeback player of the year. You can do a lot worse than Burrow. Yeah, let's pull, like, I think there's a chance Burrow makes it back here, but I'm not really stamping the table for anyone here. And there's a lot of FUD on these players. So pretty high chance some of them make it back to me. No, we'll look at my BBM5 exposures after this stream. I posted them on Twitter. All right, guys, let's do the giveaway. If you got Drafters username, type it in chat. Last giveaway. Shout out Drafters. Sending over the last batch of. If you sign up at beatbestball.com, sign up now. If you want the free ticket at Drafters, you'll have the rest of this year and you'll have all my content next year. But yeah, I'm sending over the last batch of emails for anyone who did not get their tickets to drafters. So DM me on Twitter if you don't have it yet. 20 seconds. Comment your drafters username. I'm just going to highlight the bottom name in the queue here. And if I see multiple people commenting your name, you're voided. It's a one name per account. No cap Mac. You're the winner. You give me a second here, no cap Mac. And I'll DM that name to them. God, the DK timers have gone up to 10 minutes, so gonna be doing those in the background. Yeah, I'm not a huge Zamir White guy, but this team needs running backs. I'm gonna remove you, but I'll send that. This team needs running backs. It's a great ADP value on him. The thing about Zamir White is he's very athletic. And when you're athletic, you have the ability to score an 80-yard touchdown when you touch the ball. The bad thing about Zamir White, he's unlikely to catch passes. There's a reason he's falling. He's probably overvalued. But yeah, I want to mix him in. And you know, he could have a crazy lucky touchdown season like Jamal Williams did one year. So good job, no cap Mac. You won the last ticket there. Wow, Jordan Addison, a clear wide receiver 6 for us. Yeah, I think we have to do that. Addison, high ankle sprain, not great, but come on. He went after Brandon Cooks in this draft. Congrats, no cap Mac. Again, promo code Cheslium will get you up and running. No cap Mac. So week 1 starts Thursday. And I just tweeted out that, you know, some things to remember as week 1 approaches, because there's going to be a lot of overreactions and just fear mongering. People like to do that. Christian Kirk scored 2 PPR points week 1. He went on to average 13 points for the whole season. Devon Achane was inactive week 1. He scored 54 points in week 3. So, you know, if Xavier Worthy scores 5 points on Thursday, or if Kelsey scores 2 points, or if Pacheco scores 25, zoom out a little bit, realize it's a 17-week season, and don't be flailing the arms. So pretty sick team here for 150. We got Burrow holding on our QB spot. We got 6 wide receivers who all qualify for upside swings. We got some division correlation, Burrow, Chase, Flowers. We got Reed and Addison, same division as Gibbs, just getting extra games against each other. We got James Cook and Coleman, a little positive correlation there and negative at times. 3 running backs who I think can score 20 points in a given week. And yeah, let's take the value here on Goddard to get a tight end who will probably be around 10 points per game and is capable of scoring 20. I like it. Carson Steele, 2 goal line touchdowns. Yeah. Big boy, 6'1", 205. Thanks for checking in. I think this is kinda why you take Addison because, like, I like Mitchell, Judy, Lockett, Williams, Shaheed, Wicks, Myers. Like, I like all these guys, but they're simply not in the same class as Jordan Addison. And yeah, Jordan Addison's gonna get suspended some games this year. And yeah, he's a little injured right now. But I think it's gone too far. Bengals waiting to sign Chase until Thursday. I don't know, man. I don't pretend to know. Trent Williams signed for the Niners today too, or they haven't officially signed, but looks like that's coming in. So just seems like how that's how the Niners do it, and it now means Chase is the only one left. So maybe the Bengals wanted that. Maybe they wanted people to talk about them. I don't know. And again, I don't know if Chase gets a new deal this year. They don't have to do that. Yeah, let's go big game Gabe. Gabe Davis, capable of scoring 40 points in a game. And in a total point contest, we want to be hunting for that. We want players who can separate you massively. All these like Jaleel McLaughlin got pulled up into this round. Chuba Hubbard did. Seems a little week one brainy to me. With Burrow, probably gonna aim to go only two QBs. Probably gonna aim to go three tight ends. I don't know if I need any more wide receivers, but I probably will take an eighth. Of course, I could go three QB. Nothing wrong with that, but my buys are a little wonky. 3 week 12 buys, 2 week 14s. So obviously, week 12 is a not the best week for my team, but that week I would have one, two, three, four other wide receivers playing unless Addison is suspended. And then every other week I have minimum of five wide receivers playing. So I don't know. I think this is a pretty good balanced team. Maybe it's the winner. Great question here, Eric. Will you be relieved of drafting best ball teams? You know, Eric, a week ago, a month ago, no. But yeah, like I like to draft teams. I don't like to draft 1,000 teams, you know? And so I view the drafting portion at like it's kind of it's work at this point, right? You know, like I look at the DK Millie Maker. I'm at a nice number now. I'm really happy I joined the slow drafts before it filled, which last year I tried to I was like, okay, fine, I'll do some slows. They were gone. I couldn't. So um yeah, I'm looking forward to just sitting back, drinking a beer, and watching the games and, sweating the teams. It's pretty nice to have that liberty um once you get done with the drafting portion. So, Zeke versus Charbonnet, two similar players. We'll go Charbonnet. I don't know. I mean, Charbonnet's banged up, but round 2 back, and, I don't I think the coach speak has been nice on Ken Walker, but people are, projecting the coach speak of him, being liked as if he's gonna be a 90% snap rate player the whole season. And I don't think that's likely. I think, Charbonnet will probably be at minimum a 35% guy once he's healthy. Now, will it take a while for him to be healthy? Maybe. But yeah, I think we've gone a little too far on the Charbonnet hate. And yeah, I mean, I like Dowdle more than Zeke. but in the 14th round, where he was going at like round 10 earlier in the summer, seems like a good guy to take. I don't need him to be a thing the whole year. I really just need him to give me some performances, you know? Maybe Zeke gives me 5 games to start the year, and then Charbonnet is back and healthy then. Hey, what up, drafters? Shout out drafters. Promo code Cheslium. Chase that overlay. Again, it's only 70% filled. They've been averaging around 5K entrants a day, but that was with Labor Day. Like, let's put that number down to 4K a day, which is at 137, 141. We'll call it 145 optimistically. That's 78% filled. So it's looking like a max for 80% fill rate with 500K up top. That means your rake is taken care of. And I think every entrant is plus EV if the contest is only 80% filled. Like literally, no matter what entrant you do, you're getting your money in good. Um, even if you drafted like woeful players. Now, of course, you're not going to profit necessarily on your entrance because realizing your equity means you have to finish high in the tournament. So, no, you could not just like draft Tom Brady in the first round and profit. You still do need to like place okay. But if you're building okay teams, which if you're watching this stream here, you're very likely to, you you're getting your money in good. Yeah, we'll be doing that type of content on Friday. In-season content, Chuck's still working it out, but definitely gonna have a quick waiver wire check-in on Mondays, I think. Whatever. I'm not in that many managed leagues. I don't really care about blowing my own EV as far as telling people, I'll definitely have some of it catered to casual audiences. Like, hey, pick up Jalen Wright. That's a casual take. And then the deeper league take is like, hey, get some P run, you know? Um, and then definitely gonna have some battle royale days. I want to do a DFS breakdown too, so I'm working it out, Chuck. Matt, we'll get to this question in a second here. Um, yeah, I don't want to risk missing out on Andre Yoshivas, so I'm going to take him here. Pairs with Joe Burrow. Of course, if Chase does miss week 1, Yoshivas is cushion. Like, if Chase returns week 2, week 3, maybe Yoshivas has a big game to hold me down. And probably done at 8 wide receivers here. We added onto our week 12 bye problem. But whatever. Tank, Flowers, Reed, they hold down week 12 for me. I think I'll put the only ranking adjustments I need to do is like, which I don't even know if people want these. I don't know how many people are still drafting right now, but Ricky Pearsall needs to go lower in the ranks. Hope he's okay. And that's like pretty much it as far as like big moves to make. Okay. I'm gonna go naked Will Levis here. Just because pretty steep drop off at quarterback. Tight end is the other position for me to consider. Not as steep a drop off. And yeah, I mean, Will Levis might be naked for me, meaning unstacked, but it is what it is. I think it could be argued like Braylon Allen would have been a good pick too, because he was the end of the tier of a running back for me, but we'll figure out another running back. Burton's not dead, but I think Yoshi Voss is a better bet at the moment. I'd consider Burton. He got drafted though, so. All right, so Matt asks, how does advance rate get affected if there's overlay? So on drafters, it's total points. So in a total points contest, drafters, the marathon, it just means you're competing with less people for a guaranteed prize pool that had more people, right? So drafters sized this contest for 187,000 entrants. Anything less than that, same prize pool, just less people. So easier to win, basically. Easier to win, easier to profit, easier to get your money back, everything. For something like the DK Millie Maker, if that overlays, which it probably will, the way it works is the the same amount of teams make the playoffs, but since not enough leagues existed, what they're going to do is they're going to start awarding wildcard teams, which are teams that otherwise would not have made the playoffs because they were not one of the two highest scoring teams in their original pod, but they are the highest scoring team that did not make the playoffs. So they get rewarded. For example, I advanced 44 out of 150 teams in the DK Millie Maker last year. It overlaid, and I got 7 extra teams into the playoffs. So I got 51 instead of 44. Yeah, I agree here, JJ. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, whatever. It's also like, if I really don't like, what am I going to do? Disingenuously tout bad players? Like, it's my belief that if I just provide value, I'll be rewarded in the long run. So 4 more picks left to play with. Let's get Ben Senate, whatever, on this team. A super high upside swing. We're going to get one more tight end. One more running back minimum. And then this last pick I can play with. Like, so I could take Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, oh no, he got drafted super high. I was going to say Tyler Boyd won't be a 0, but he's also probably like not a key part of winning this contest. Can I play on drafters from Europe? You know, Pity, I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question for their team, though. Yeah, Greg Dulcich. Yes, Chigakonkwo stacks with Levis, but I don't think Chigakonkwo is very good. And I think Dulcich could totally be a PPR scam on the Broncos. I could take Traylon Burks. I could take Nick Westbrook-Akine. I could do these things. That is correct. Probably not going to, though. Hell yeah, Brock. That sounds like a good time. Very true. I like to eat pizza. I don't like to eat an entire pizza. Unfortunately, ML, I usually do eat an entire pizza. Just I'm that type of guy, but yeah, I've talked about this, but I don't think Carson Steele upside case is dead. I totally think he could, like, look, it's thin, it's not likely, but yes, I do think he showed enough that I don't think he's just a fullback. This dude is not just a fullback. He was a running back in college. He performed there. He looked good in the preseason. I think he could be, the distant 1B. And maybe even he becomes a good pass catching back. Like, I don't really know. Maybe he Wally Pips Piron. What's Jameis Winston's ADP in this format? Free. Backup quarterbacks generally don't get drafted. So yeah, all those guys are 20th round picks. Yeah, we got a little correlation there. The Gabe Davis versus Will Levis game. I could have taken Sam Darnold instead of Levis straight up, and that would have given me obviously the Addison stack. I think Darnold has significantly higher bench risk than Levis, though. And then I also could have taken Drake May instead of Levis, because Drake May is going to run the football, and Levis is not a huge runner of the ball. Yeah, I definitely think Jacob Cowing's a good dart. I do not. Pretty much an NFL guy. Spent a lot of time in NFL. NFL's a year-round sport, so I don't even watch like basketball. I never liked baseball, so yeah. There's just no way you will need like quarterback is a very hard position in a total points format to need. Like you need to have them to win. Um, the only year we really saw like when Jalen Hurts was a 6th round pick and he was smashed, that year you needed him. If Justin Fields is B5 on the year, okay, you might need him. Yeah, let's ride the steel horse. Let me get my war horses in the chat. War horse. Carson Steele seems like a decent 6th. So we got 2, 6, 8, 3. I honestly think any position is defensible. Chase, Tank, Flowers, Reed, Coleman. But I think I'm gonna go running back and just take another pure dart there. Appreciate you, man. Do you max out DFS weekly tournaments like 150 entries? I'm not a DFS professional. I think DFS is dominated by math geeks, with all due respect to them. But like, so no, I'm not maxing out. Best ball is the game I play more. I do play some. I'll play some like single max. I might max out the week 1 $5 milli maker, because why not? But yeah. Ride the horse to 500K. Let's go. Yeah, I think best ball is just like a much more enjoyable game, and this is why you should any provider who supplies auto draft software and whatnot, you should let them know you're not pleased with that, because they're trying to kill this game we love. And I don't really like my opinion on it. And I heard Levitan speak about this on his solo pod, and I agree with him. Is like I'm not worried about software being good. Like I would draft against the software, and I would bet on myself over it. But I think optically it's pretty bad, where people will think something nefarious is happening, whether it's true or not. Wow, Gardner's still there. No stacks for us though with him. Sure. Emmanuel Wilson. Real thin. But he's on the team. So he's got outs. Almost never drafted. Correlates with our NFC North thing we're doing here. So Joe Burrow, Will Levis. Take us to the promised land. Gibbs, Cook, White. Gibbs and Cook, 2 pass catching backs. White, a starting running back. Charbonnet, Elliott, Steele, Wilson, varying degrees of dart throws in this group here. Chase, Tank, Flowers, Reed, Coleman, Addison, Gabe Davis, Yoshi Voss. Pretty good wideout room. Gabe and Yoshi Voss, spike week dudes. Hoping for breakout bets for the other 6/studs. And then Goddard, Sinnott, and Dulcich. Not the best, not the worst tight end group in the world. And that is number 150. Game theory is also one of the huge components of DFS success, which is one of your strengths. I agree, man. And I'm going to be writing a game theory article each week. Like, that's, like, one of the articles I wanna write. I'll have my article I'm gonna start writing it, I don't know, Thursday/Friday once I'm done with drafts. But the article is gonna be like, here are the best plays, and then here's how I think, you know, the best plays are typically owned. So here's some game theory parts. For example, in week 1, Devon Achane is priced at 6,800 on DraftKings. Many people value and he's in a smash spot against the Jacks. Many people value Achane as a round 2 pick. So clearly this is a bad price. He's one of the best plays. What does that inherently mean? It means that Travis Etienne, who's $300 more at 7,100, is probably going to fall through the ownership cracks. You know, he's 600 less than Bijan, and he's a really strong leverage game theory spot. Because people are going to play Achane, means they're less likely to play ETN, which, you know, they're less likely to play ETN because guys like Bijan are priced near there. So yeah, I think ETN is like a really strong game theory play for week 1. Gonna talk on that more in the article though. What do you expect out of Sinit this season? I'm expecting that being a 0 is in the range of outcomes, but I like that I get a bet against Zach Ertz, who I will admit has got positive buzz in camp. Seems like he will start the season as the tight end 1 and maybe even a focal point of the offense in a PPR scam way. But, you know, I'm of the opinion we've seen the Zach Ertz arc. It's not pretty. No one wanted to sign him last year when he was cut. Sinnott is an extremely athletic tight end. And your hope for him is that in a wide open target room, he can simply become the number 2 target earner on the Commanders after Terry McLaurin. And maybe the team runs more 12 personnel, whatever. I think at minimum, he'll be a guy who can win down the field. And you're hoping for 70% of what Laporta was on a worse offense, you know? Yeah, that's how I feel too. Like, if Ertz is the guy 17 weeks down the season, I was never winning. I think I like Musgrave more. Kraft's a pretty good dart throw too, in terms that he'll have yak. But this is 150 for me, guys. Let me refill my coffee and we'll take a look. Again, promo code Cheslium will get you up and running on drafters if you want to chase that overlay. Let me get my coffee. I'll be right back. Man, the 10-minute pick timers on DK really really aggressive. All right. So I posted my exposures. Let's look at them and talk about them in BBM5. Do you like Javante this year? I've warmed up to him, Brian. I think he's pretty overpriced in some places. Still a bad, I understand all the whatever narratives about Sean Payton offenses, running backs, blah, blah, blah. Obviously a good sign. P Ryan's out of there for both him and Jaleel, but I yeah, I mean, the offense is probably going to suck. Like, is anyone going to be surprised if the Seahawks beat the Broncos, like 30-7? I won't. And if you don't score touchdowns, you're not super valuable to me. Garbage time, dump offs, like that's not as big a part of fantasy production as people think. So, of course, we hit him with the 2-time. Can't call 1 time when you've won it before. So, funny caption. The time distribution of my drafts is very important for understanding my exposures. Obviously, players' prices go up and down, and information we have is different. For example, if I did all of my drafts today, I would have a lot more Jordan Mason. I would have a lot more Samaje Perine. These are players I'm taking often in drafts today. I only had 25 Kyron Williams teams last year, roughly 17%, because I only did my drafts. I only had 50 drafts left in August last year, too. I had like, I don't know, 80% Kyron Williams in the DK Millie Maker. So things like that matter. I had done 48 before June. So 48 between the last day of April, May, and June. 75 before July. So 25 more in the month of July. Between 25 in July, and I did my last 48 or 50 basically in August/September for BBM5 to get to 150. QB first. Brock Purdy, number 1 QB. This has to do with me drafting a lot of Brandon Ayuk and a lot of Kittle, Debo, whatever. Has to do with Purdy being pretty cheap. And it has to mainly do with, and this is why it's best ball, it's a different game than manage, has to mainly do with me loving the 49ers schedule and feeling like the winning team will have a 49ers player on it. Their schedule is some order of Rams, Detroit, 2 shootout games. Rams, Miami, 2 shootout games, and then Detroit, a 3rd shootout game. Love it. If I was doing this today, I'd probably have a little bit more Caleb Williams. I just like the upside bet a little bit more, but I still like Purdy for the playoff schedule. Trevor Lawrence, just too cheap. Draft a lot of Kirk in particular. So, yeah, just too cheap here. Josh Allen and Hurts. I always draft elite QBs. I'm definitely going to draft who, in my opinion, are the QB1 and the QB2 when they are the cheapest they've ever been. 4th-round prices, they were 2nd-round players last year. Justin Herbert, again, way too cheap for what he is. Caleb Williams, I got a lot of this Caleb recently. He probably would have been my number 1 QB if I did all my drafts in August. Just really excited about the Bears team. Think their matchup against the Seahawks is plenty fine. Drake May, high draft pick, cheap rushing QB. Joe Burrow, too cheap. Like Chase, draft a lot of Chase. Love the Bengals matchup against the Broncos. Jaden Daniels, cheap rushing upside QB. Dak, too cheap. Stacks with CeeDee Lamb, stacks with Ferguson. Rodgers, pretty cheap dart throw. But, you can notice I'm pretty flat at QB, and that's by design. Not a position where I'm looking to go always like, I want 50% of this guy. I thought a lot of QBs were mispriced, which led to me being pretty flat here. Rodgers, Love, Goff, Stafford. I'd like to have a little bit more love, but it is what it is. I thought you'd have more Stroud. I was only willing to take Stroud in the 80s because I saw that happen, and he would go in the 60s or higher a lot. I like Stroud a lot, but yeah. Kyler, again, I was only really willing to take him past ADP. He's okay. I like his week 17 matchup. Week 15, week 16, not as much. Okay. Running back, Jerome Ford, RB1. Again, when you draft matters. I would not have I don't draft Ford as nearly as much now that he goes in the 110s, but almost all my Ford teams are 140s, 130s. Other people don't like Ford. They're worried about Chubb returning. I think it's quite likely he's just the RB1 the whole year. I think he's explosive. I think he had a high ankle sprain last year. I love his matchup against the Dolphins week 17. And yeah, just too cheap. When you're today's zero running back teams are much worse than zero running back teams I built earlier, where my RB1 in today sometimes is like Jalen Wright. My RB1 back in June would be like Jerome Ford and Rico Dowdle, two actual RB1s for their teams, Ray Davis, very cheap guy who I think could consolidate the work Latavius Murray got, contingent upside, plays for an elite team. Zach Moss. I was drafting Zach Moss in the 90s, so I sure as hell was buying the dip down too. Still think it's pretty 50-50 between him and Chase Brown, who I have a 15%. Will Shipley, 4th round draft capital, very cheap. A bet against Kenneth Gainwell. Guys like Audric Estime with less draft capital would go ahead. So yeah, just could be a zero for sure. Drawing live to be a pure zero. Braylon Allen, Breece Hall's RB2. We hope. I don't have a lot of Breece Hall, so it makes sense to have this cheap. I was drafting him in the 18th and 20th round. Sure as hell was buying him on the way up. Jalen Wright, injury contingent upside ×2, explosive player, will probably get garbage time role, has outs to just being the goal line back. He's the biggest running back on the team. And, high draft capital. They traded up to get him. Just seems like a good bet. Massive upside. Much lower floor than Ray, but bigger upside. Rico Dowdle, again, my presumption on the RB2 of the Cowboys. James Cook. I think James Cook definitely has some league-winning outcomes in his range of outcomes in his seasons. Totally feasible. He could be this 80% snap rate player, get more goal line work, plays well with the Ray Davis, where it's hopefully it's one of these guys. Really good pass catching back, massive ceiling. Trey Benson, I was drafting him in the hundreds, and I drafted him on the way down. A bet against 29-year-old James Conner. A bet on who many viewed as the RB3 in the class, RB2. Marshawn Lloyd, 3rd round draft capital. Drafted him expensive. Drafted him all the way down. Hopefully he's the Packers RB2. Chase Brown, a lot of this was at cheaper prices. And I stopped taking him as much as he got more expensive, like Ford. But yeah, really want one of the Bengals running backs because I feel their matchup against the Broncos week 17 could be the key to winning this year. So that's how I'm attacking it. DeAndre Swift, pretty cheap. God, these fucking slow drafts. Let me make some picks. It's still an hour in underdog land, which is reasonable, but it's down to 10 minutes in DK land, which is not. DeAndre Swift, explosive player, got a big contract, plays for a good team. I prefer him over guys like Ramondre Stevenson. There's a lot of mouths to feed there, but, elite team, explosive. Antonio Gibson, a bet against Ramondre, catches passes. We saw Zeke be scammable, usable last week. I think he could be that. Wide receiver room is probably ass. And Rachaad White, very similar to James Cook. Young, pass catching. Bucky Irving was drafted, but remains to be seen. Has a great matchup against the Panthers week 17. So I like it. Um, Wide receiver, Khalil Shakir. Kind of getting the vibe lately that he could be the wide receiver one of the Bills. But as you can see, Shakir, Coleman, and Curtis Samuel all make my top list. So just a team where I think it's an elite offense and too cheap. There is no reason for Hollywood Brown to still be going ahead of all three Bills wide receivers. You know, you think that the Chiefs are, pass catcher 4 will outscore the Bills pass catcher 2? No. And also, um, they're all live for spike weeks. And even if none of them are league winners, they're going to have some massive games. Don't like the week 17 matchup as much for them against the Jets, but long season, defensively get hurt. And their week 15, week 16 matchup's pretty good, Detroit and Patriots. So maybe the Bills pieces are the key to getting to the finals. Luke McCaffrey drafted a lot of this early. Didn't draft as much in August, even though news broke well for him. Third round draft capital, wide open receiving room, high pace offense. I bet on Jaden Daniels. I like it. Brandon Ayuk is definitely one of the riskier positions in my portfolio. Yes, I have more Shakir, but Shakir is like a 10th round, 11th round pick. Shakir was like free to start the year. Ayuk was a second round pick or third round pick for my teams. So what you're spending determines your risk. So Ayuk is one of the riskier stands I have. I just think he's extremely talented. Will be closer to like 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, A.J. Brown level talent on the 49ers against the Lions week 17. Sign me up. Rome Odunze, I think he's just functionally mispriced. 9th overall pick. I bet on Caleb Williams. I bet against Keenan Allen. Yeah. Zay Flowers. It's my preferred bet on the Ravens. So got a lot of him. Jamar Chase. Again, Chase is the riskiest stand, I would guess, in my portfolio. 20% of him. 18%, whatever. But I think he'd be wide receiver 1 this year. Hasn't ever been healthy. Gets the Broncos week 17. Gets a healthy Joe Burrow. Christian Kirk. Kirk's been in all my winning best ball teams, but I also think he's just like, people are bored of him, but he's probably the wide receiver 1 of the Jags. Demarcus Robinson, not a guy I've taken as of late. Cooled off with that once names like Jordan Whittington popped up, but ended the year well. Good offense, good week 17 matchup. Still could be a hit in his range outcomes. Malachi Corley, third round draft capital, ambiguous room, cheap. Didn't draft as much of him lately either. But I didn't think Corley and McCaffrey had like being a pure zero in their range of outcomes. They may not be hits, but I think they're going to score some fantasy points. Tank and Nico, bets on the Texans. Nico, obviously a second round pick. Tank a 3-4. I prefer betting on these guys over Diggs. Kincaid, my tight end 1, wide open room, kind of my pick for the Bills, number 1 pass catcher. Ferguson, I think he's the Cowboys' second pass catcher. McBride, young, cheap. Kittle was like really cheap to begin the year. Elite single week upside. Bet on the 49ers. Brock Bowers, first round pick. Cheap, tight end. Goddard, kind of the end of the tier there. Conklin, one of my favorite picks for a guy who could just like have a random 8 touchdown season. Ben Sinnott, we already talked about, but like the upside. Isaiah Likely, big single week upside. Evan Ingram, has tight end 1 in his range outcomes. Dalton Schultz, kind of the end of the tier there as well. Craig Dulcich, we talked about him, but hope he can be a PPR scam, maybe the second target of the Broncos. Kyle Pitts, we're back. And Luke Musgrave, just a bet on the Packers. Yeah, like 7% on Dulcich is something like it's probably like 30 times leverage on the field because Greg Dulcich was probably only drafted 30% of the time. So having 8% of him is like a big stand. Um, Most of the other guys are 100% draft rate players though. And I don't really sweat my BBM5 exposures. Like, I'm a little surprised on some of the exposures, but whatever, man. The vibes are going to be what it is. Let the chips fall into place. And BBM5 are not the only teams I do. Let me make some slow picks on DK. Okay. So yeah, those are my BBM5 exposures. Looks like it's revealing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players. Pretty happy with them. You know, guys who I'm unsure of, who I have hopes for is like Will Shipley. Um, he has been a peer 0 in his range of outcomes, but he's a last round pick, so wouldn't kill me. Um, Luke McCaffrey and Malachi Corley. Again, cheap players. They have been 0s in their range of outcomes. Wouldn't kill me even if so. So feel pretty good about it. Laporta, yeah, I mean, like, look, I like Laporta too. He was just the most expensive of the group. And so that's like, I would take Kincaid sometimes in the 4th. I would take him always in the 5th. I would take McBride sometimes in the 4th. I would take him always in the 5th. Kelsey and Andrews, we're just kind of betting against the older dudes. I don't have 0% of those guys, but yeah, I prefer the young dudes. Kincaid, McBride, and really like Ferguson, Kittle, Bowers, Pitts, you know. So that's the BBM5 exposures. Going to do marathon team now. What is the warning it gave me? I don't even know what that is. It's a weird warning to get. Let's just join it on our phone. So yeah, the marathon I'm gonna max. It's at 76% filled. Maybe it fills. Kelsey and Andrews are good bets. It just they weren't my favorite bets. I'm getting like a lot of Andrews right now in the DK Millie because he's cheap, But you simply you can't make the math work of like you can't bet on James Cook and Rashad White and Jaden Reed and Kincaid and McBride and Andrews and like you can't have all the players. Yeah, long term I feel great about Keon Coleman. I mean, we'll see what it is, but promo code Cheslium if you want to get up and running on Underdog as well. Let's make my slow picks here before we get in there. Yeah, need a wide receiver here. Super easy to multi-table on desktop for Underdog. Let's take Keon. And let's go. Yeah, let's go Jalen Warren. Let's make a DK pick. My browser's so small because I was doing 20 drafts at the same time. So let me fix that. Didn't really realize I had it like that. Thoughts on having Bijan and Pitts on the same team? Seems fine. Not my preferred way, but is your DK exposure more concentrated? I care more about my high stakes on DK, and I'm just starting to do my DK milli makers. So, but yeah, it's pretty narrow. It's pretty narrow over there. Way more. I'm just like taking Roma Dunze every time. I'm taking Jaden Reed every time. I'm taking Achan a lot. I'm taking Ayuk a lot still. I don't know. I'm not sweating the exposures there. I'm just trying to get the 150 bullets in to sit back and relax. I got Keenan Allen at pick 90 in a DK draft. So this is total points. Very similar bets here. I usually go Jefferson here, but let's just do AJ Brown. Let's get grown man alpha AJ Brown on this team. I think if we compare, man, these fiends in the DK drafts putting me on the clock constantly. Anyone know when the underdog clocks speed up? This is all look upable, but I'm figuring some of you guys know this. I don't have rankings for the marathon. I do have rankings in there for DK though, so auto drafting a pick in DK is not as bad. And I don't really respect how the market is ranking players right now. Like I might have 100%. Like Christian Kirk does not make it by me here. Christian Kirk does not make it by me here. Sure. We have some running back fiends on the inside of us, so let's get a running back. Wake up, sheeple. Well, yeah, I'm excited. Honestly, I'm really happy I did the quantity of drafts I did yesterday. I'm in a good place. It's going to be a pain to do these last 30 DKs, but I think I'm just going to try to do it like manually. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the marathon's going to overlay? It only needs 36,000 entrants. I'm going to guess it might not overlay because there's no other options. The sprint, I think the sprint will overlay. Although it only needs 7,000 entrants. Just I think people don't want to do $50 drafts as much. Yeah, I think these are the last best ball drafts in the lobby. Definitely be doing some dog bowls and battle royale drafts. See, underdog makes this really easy. They like label the slow so I can find the fast. Mark, I would recommend you read my free article on beatbestball.com about total points. If you want to read about total points. I'll link it for you, brother. My strategy is to try to build the nuts at every position. Build a team that can score a lot of points every single week. I think some minor strategies, you could say things like division correlation, you get extra game stacks, etc. You got a lot of time to research, Barry. I'm really excited for these total point teams because, the most likely outcome is I'm dead for first starting week 6. But what if we have a team that's front running and we can sweat on the channel all year? It's a little bit different from playoff contests. Well, Owen, I don't think a lot of people go score a lot of points every week. I wish I thought about that. I don't think a lot of people think about what the objective is. I don't think a lot of people start backwards. For example, it was intuitive to me day one I played best ball to think about how do I score the most points the last week? Who has the best playoff schedule? Things like this. I did this my first year playing. That's working backwards. As opposed to how do I beat the people in my room? That's not working backwards. How do I advance? That's not working backwards. That's how a lot of people think about it. Pretty crazy. Malik Neighbors, sure. I like DJ more and more. DJ more and more. But I'm hoping that I can sneak him around here. What's your Ricky Pearsall exposure? Nothing insane. I don't know. Probably at field. I like DJ more and more than Neighbors because plays for a better team. More likely to score 10 touchdowns. Connor asks, what's your Ricky Pearsall exposure? Fit says, we're always Team Ayuk over here. And he says, I'm over here. No, I drafted Ricky Tier too. In general, I think it's good process to draft first round picks who are really cheap. But I wasn't going just because I draft most of my teams I draft wide receiver heavy inherently meant I wasn't drafting as much Ricky late. What are your thoughts on Metcalf? I think he definitely has some smash seasons in his range of outcomes. They've done some donkey shit with him where they locked him on one side of the field. And you have hopes with the new OC that changes. Yeah, division correlation, Neighbors and AJ Brown, exactly what we're talking about. Wow, pretty sick. We get Metcalf here. That was the hope. Take Neighbors, hope to get one of more Metcalf. This is in my opinion, this is just not good. It's better than this, but yeah, you got an interesting group of people drafting these teams. AJ Brown, Nico Collins, Metcalf is the 3 staple if you're trying to go with the triple grown ass man offense. Great point, Who Hames. Get those like counts up, fellas. Okay. So let's upgrade this scroll. What would be sick is if I could break 10K subscribers by like January. I doubt it. Primarily a best ball channel, but who knows? Thoughts on trading JSN for Mostert, fair value? Um, I think the person trading away JSN's getting the worst end of the deal. But yeah, they'll probably return similar value. Mostert's just inherently a riskier player. He's old. JSN, not my favorite player in the world, but he has breakout potential. Lockett's been banged up, should be ready for week 1. But if I needed the running back points and I don't need wide receiver, then yeah, like you got to think about your own team and when you're making trades. So like if my running back room was Rico Dowdle and Gus Edwards, that would make me want Mostert a lot more. Yeah, when we do these sometimes, but we don't got it right now. Zay Flowers ADP is just the 5th round on the marathon. I don't really get it. A little tight end run. I'd rather have Zay Flowers than Michael Pittman. Sure. I like Rachaad White more than Joe Mixon. I like him equally to Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker has a bigger single week season or single week ceiling than White in the sense that he's more explosive. But I think White will be Mr. Steady Eddie, fill in my RB2 spot. And that's valuable. Someone was trying to say in my YouTube comments that Rachaad White was the same. Oh, shit. I just dropped my coffee cup. That scared the shit out of me. All right, good news, the coffee cup didn't break. Bad news, it spilled everywhere. Let me make this pick, and I need to get a towel to clean this up. And then we'll talk about Rachaad White. Come on, brother. I'm trying to clean this up. Make a pick. Let's go Kittle. No, let's go George Pickens. I'm not a George Pickens guy, but adds to the grown man thesis. And good price on him. We'll give you some cleaning content here. Looks like someone murdered a peanut M&M in here. Just coffee blood everywhere. No. I mean, yeah, look, if they make him a 3-down back, but unless Zach Charbonnet is significantly injured, they drafted a 2nd-round pick last year, a guy who a lot of people liked. Charbonnet's not some scrub. What are your thoughts on Drake London? Drake London is not a guy I'm super exposed to, but I see the thesis. He could absolutely be a top 5 wide receiver this year, um, with a healthy Kirk Cousins. I'll be right back, guys. Need to get one more thing here for the coffee. All right. Let's make this pick here. I usually let my girlfriend lead the charge on that. Yeah, let's go Aaron Jones. We got some nice values at wide receiver. Let's try to beat the contest at RB2. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to stream tomorrow, mostly because the DK timers moved down to 2 minutes. And so that will be tough to deal with. Javante is getting absurdly expensive. Seems pretty bad. Let's go Hopkins. Another alpha-sized wide receiver. Does Aaron Jones having the same buy as Achane not bother you? No, it doesn't. I don't think money makes you happy. I think lack of money, though, makes you sad. You know, if you're a miserable person and you think money will change that, probably not. So, anytime you can spend to improve your quality of life for the long run, I highly recommend something like working out or taking care of your body. These are investments in yourself that you will never regret. Absolutely, yes. Gotta think outside the box. Take notes, Pete. Ooh. I built a CMC Ayuk Debo George Kittle team in the DK Millie Maker. Cade. Shit brick house. I would say it depends on the job, King. You know, I'm gonna try to make my fantasy business work as a job, but I'd be lying if I said I don't have thoughts of going back to being a chess teacher because I really enjoyed that. I was a teacher and I was happy to do that. If you're young and you're struggling for a career path, I think there's a lot worse things you can do than be a teacher. I think it makes you probably a better parent too when you're ready. Thank you for reminding me, Hands. Rashad White. Yeah. So someone on my YouTube comments said Rashad White and Devin Singletary were similarly explosive players, which is just like a lie. You know, he said, well, the Giants and the Bucks are the same team according to Vegas, and they're the same explosiveness. A, they're not the same team. The Bucks are a higher win total team. B, they're not even in the same stratosphere as far as athleticism. Rashad White scored a 9.87 raw athletic score out of 10. So this dude is mega athlete. It's all green. Devin Singletary is one of the least athletic running backs in the NFL. All red. Why do we care? A, athletic running backs are more likely to be 1,000-yard rushers. B, athletic, explosive running backs are the guys who can score an 80-yard touchdown on one carry and win you a week. Devin Singletary can't do that. He just cannot do it. Shakir. 6 wide receivers. They all have different buys. I might stop at 6. Nope, they have two week 5 buys. But everyone else is different. Any news on Jamar today? I don't think so yet, Jake. Not since I've been, unless it happened when I was streaming, but I think we'll get something. Yeah, no, and don't get me wrong, like Devin Singletary's not athletic, but he's good at what he's good at, right? So can he score an 80-yard touchdown? No. Physically impossible unless a wormhole opens up on the field and sucks all the defenders into it. But he's capable of making guys miss in the hole. He's good at that. So he's good at getting 15-yard runs, 17-yard runs. He just can't score an 80-yard touchdown, which I value. Max said, 6'1", 230, dad bod, best ball degenerate, losing money on fantasy football makes me happy. And Owen says, Mac, I strive to be you in a few years. Hashtag community. So pretty locked out at QBs that we were considering. I think all these players are in consideration with this pick. Let's go Spears and set up a Will Levis thing with Spears and Hopkins. I prefer Pollard, but wouldn't be a huge surprise for Spears to be the guy. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I generally know which running backs are athletic and which are not, just from following football. But also as a Bills fan, I watched a lot of runs with Singletary, and I was like, wow, if the Bills had someone fast, he would have scored on that play. And probably was a reason why they drafted James Cook and why I was excited for James Cook, because I was like, holy shit, we have the running back who can go score in those plays now. I doubt he's the shortest, but he's not tall, which running backs being short is fine. Generally, you would prefer that. Lets you get lower pad level. Like, Derrick Henrys are an anomaly. Can you talk about optimal stacks for best ball new to the game? Is one stack of 3 to 4 from one team, whatever, QBR what plus best player available for rest of draft optimal, or do you optimally want 2 stacks? Jason, I don't think we have enough of a data set to say what is purely optimal. I think you should aim to get 2 stacks. In my opinion, though, the quarterback is the least important part of the stack. So if I don't have Josh Allen, does that mean I won't take Kincaid and Shakir? No, it won't. I'm stacking that offense without the expensive quarterback. If I don't have Dak and I've taken Ferguson, does that mean I won't take Jalen Tolbert? No, I will. The quarterback points are the most replaceable. So it's, when you do a lot of drafts, I think it should be case by case. But in general, aim to stack up 2 quarterbacks at least. 3 single stacks is always good too. So like Trevor to Kirk, Derek Carr to Olave, and Geno to Metcalf. That was my winning 2K team one year. And yeah, I'll super stack a good team sometimes. So Jordan Love and all his pass catchers. I'm not going to lie. I don't really like having 50 DK drafts with 10-minute timers. Are you from Western New York? No, my dad grew up in Lockport. I grew up in New Hampshire. I'd rather have Jalen Tolbert than Quentin Johnston. But that could be wrong. Would it be crazy for a first round pick to become fantasy relevant? Not really. Last of a tier. Let's go Schultz. You get an injury to one of the wide receivers, Schultz could have a 10 touchdown season is the hope. I only have like 2 QJ teams, and I only started taking him after DJ Chark got hurt, which I think, I don't know how severe DJ Chark's injury is. It's not really being reported on. God, DraftKings, can you stop refreshing my screen constantly? But I think QJ's running pretty good that Chark got banged up. Definitely think Keaton Mitchell's a good last round dart throw. Just won't give you any points for 10 weeks or so. I'm Kyron over ETN. I don't know why you would do this. I need 30 more King Nut. Nice. We got Trey Benson too. So we're going to have to figure out QB later, but pretty good team so far. Achane, White, Aaron Jones, Tajay Spears, Trey Benson. Even if Trey Benson's given me no points to start the year, these 4 are. A.J. Brown, Neighbors, Metcalf, George Pickens, Hopkins, Shakir. I think all these wide receivers are capable of having some big games. Dalton Schultz, perfectly cromulent tight end. I like ETN a lot too. I just don't like him as much as Kyron. I've always had ETN ranked ahead of Pacheco. Yeah. ETN competing with Tank Bigsby is a good thing. Probably. I was a little surprised ETN didn't make my top exposure list because I definitely thought I was clicking him a lot. Vidal is a better player for managed. Unless I needed 7 PPR points in my RB2 spot. Shakir. But I like Samuel too, especially if he's cheap. Yeah, probably doesn't, Mitch, but also a lot of people drafting right now are so bad that that's overlaying itself. Kate, it's posted on Twitter, and yeah, I reviewed it for like 20 minutes before I did this draft. I like Puka Nakua more than Cooper Cup. I drafted Cooper Cup quite a bit in the third. I'm not drafting him in the second round at this price. I see the breakout potential for him. I took him in a 2K managed league back in like July at the 3-4 turn. Just not going to chase him up. Cup 31, injury history. You have concerns there. Puka Nakua, best rookie wide receiver season of all time, young. Potentially injury issues there too, but I'm going to bet on that. Keaton Mitchell, not in my draft. Can't round 13. Are you Waddle over Cup? Sam, my rankings will answer that for you, but no, I think I have Cup ranked just ahead. Let's see here. I'm not a huge Jaleel guy, but I think this is a pretty palatable price. Again, touchdown upside, but at least he's explosive. So, like guys like Mason, Ray Davis, Bucky, like these are probably bigger upside swings, but whatever. Lower ADP than I would have drafted him. So, yeah, I'm firmly Puka at the 11. Like this guy won CJ Stroud and then Keaton Mitchell in the 13th and Nick Chubb in the 11th. I don't know if this dude knows anything about what's going on this year. He probably doesn't know Nick Chubb is not playing the first 4 weeks. He probably doesn't know Keaton Mitchell is not playing for a while. Or maybe he does, and he thinks that the Jacobs Cook Montgomery will hold him down. Gonna take Geno to stack with Metcalf, get our QB1. Could have taken any of these QBs. Baker to stack with White, Levis to stack with Hopkins. Someone's asking about drafting all your teams in the last couple weeks. My answer to that will always remain the same. Some years, it will be optimal to draft late. Some years, it will be optimal to draft early. Some years, it will be optimal to draft in June. I will almost always draft throughout the cycle. One, because I don't like to do slow drafts. I like to do fast drafts. And I'm not trying to do 600 fast drafts in August. Two, getting huge ADP value is going to be necessary to win some years. So, like my day one teams have Keon Coleman in the 10th and Ladd McConkey in the 11th. Rashee Rice in the 90s. Like this was available. So that's very valuable. Some years you're going to need the late guys. Last year, I think it was an atypical outcome as far as what you got for drafting late, where people were drafting Kyron, Puka, Tank, and all these guys smashed. This year, it's Jordan Mason, P. Ryan. They're probably not going to be the same level of hits. Malik Washington, Jordan Whittington. So if you're just thinking you're going to find Puka Nacua every year, I recommend you put some more thought into that. And then, universally, you'll always be drafting against worse players come this time of year. And I think that has amplified even more, where I think as best ball gets bigger, there's even worse people entering the market at a rapid pace. So that changes the equation a little bit, but I'm still going to, I drafted the winning team in June one year. My winning 555 and 2K team were probably in August. So I see merits to both, and I don't see a reason to change. Yep, this was available. Bummer that Baker and Levis go. They made for comfy QB team, QB2 for me. Just like to look at what people are doing. Naked Levis, Baker with McMillan. Defensible. Not as defensible. I did it on my drafters team, but it was like, I think I got him at like 190. So let's grab Bo Nix to stack with Jaleel. Not my favorite, but gotta do it. Yeah, I really think Barstool doing best ball was a huge thing. Yeah, okay. Like, I think people feel extremely smart pointing out that drafting early, you could have some zeros on your teams. No debate, obviously. Some of your teams won't, though. Do you think all 400,000 entrants all have zeros on their team? Do they all have JJ McCarthy? Are we drafting no zeros right now? JJ McCarthy was always going to beat out Sam Darnold. I think anyone is just wrong that thinks different from that. Yeah, I mean, could Trey Benson not be a zero? If you just want to draft late, then do that. So pretty clearly Noah Fant here to stack with Gino. Zeros can be drafted anytime. Yeah, but no, we've definitely been drafting some zeros. Elijah Mitchell's a zero. CEH is a zero for some people. I mean, there's outs there, but probably a zero. I was drafting guys like Rasheen Ali and Jawar Jordan, leaving the light on for Rasheen Ali, but probably zeros, But I also have some massive teams from early, And it only takes, I would risk 25 zeros to have one massive team. For example, let's look at some of my early marathon teams. A lot of these were drafted early. This one, pretty fucking strong. CMC, Metcalf, Cooper Cup, T. Higgins, Trey McBride, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, Rashee Rice, pick 100, Blake Corum, Chase Brown, 120, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright, Will Levis, Geno Mayfield, Jonnu, Will Shipley. Pretty effing strong. Can't build something like this today. No zeros. No clear zeros on that team. CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Debo, ETN, Kincaid, Xavier Worthy, Rome, JSN, Rashee Rice 100, JSN 94, Worthy 70, Chase Brown, Jerome Ford, Marshawn Lloyd, Justin Herbert, Ray Davis, Kamani Vidal, Ben Sinnott, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields. No clear zeros. Other, Justin Fields maybe, but even if so, Herbert and Daniel Jones is fine. Little thin at tight end, but we have Kincaid, so we have a shot at the tight end one. Pretty effing strong. No clear zeros. So generally the day after the NFL draft ends. You got it, Alex. You guys like my content? Number one thing you could do, like the video, subscribe, join my Discord link below, and of course, tell a friend. Tell a friend. Tell your league mates. Tell your league mates, Don't hoard a person. Most of them probably won't care. Most people don't grind fantasy football like you know? I wish I drafted more Rashee Rice in the 90s, but I drafted more of him in the marathon where he's unquestionably a better pick in a total points format if he's going to be a smash than he is in BBM5 where he has to hit the right weeks. Stop gatekeeping me. I mean, I literally think people do that though. They're like, people have said that. They're like, I don't want my league mates to see you. So the room couldn't do it. They couldn't lock us out. We got Russell Wilson to go with Pickens. We got Daniel Jones to go with Neighbors. We could go Drake May even. This guy's username is Fat Balls. Unfortunately, Fat Ball is not a believer in gunshot FUD. We're going to go Daniel Jones, of course, to pair with Neighbors. Daniel Jones is a better pick in total points formats where we don't care if he gets benched down the stretch. We care if he has some huge games. And I mean, third tight end, seventh wide receiver, a real debate for this team. Not going running back, not going QB. Might go tight end. Little thin here, but I think all these guys are breakout hits. Only 2 week 5 buys. Everyone else is fine. Yeah, I mean, Ricky could definitely be back. I wouldn't compare any gunshot wound. They're each individual. I would always pick 2 QB for BBM. It's 18 rounds, and I think 2 QB is optimal over 3. Don't never do 3, but I like 2 better. Okay. So Theo stacks with Daniel Jones, Greg, Colby Parkinson. Let's do Park Dog. I'm not a big believer in the Park Dog, but I don't know. Let's do Dulcich with us having Bo Nix. We got that weird Bo Nix stack. Bo Nix rushing for points, throwing it to Jaleel, throwing it to Greg. 20 round formats, I think 3 QB is more acceptable. But, if I have Jordan Love and Caleb Williams, I'm only going 2. Yeah, but brother, do me a solid. You can't live your whole life in EV. How much money is your fantasy league even going for? Is it $50 buy-in? Is it a $20 buy-in? You're gonna deny them something that provides value in your life because of that? Come on. That's selfish. Whatever. You guys are just gonna make me invest in marketing. Probably, Brian. Yeah. God, I got like 5 seconds in all these DK slow drafts. Just got to push through for one more day, guys, or a couple more days. Let's name this sucker. So I like the team. It's got some players I like. I like Neighbors. I don't have as much of him though, just because even though I love his talent, I am a little bit worried about the Giants. But we want to mix them in. 9-3. Insane. September. So it was a Geno, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones team. Achan, White, Aaron Jones, Spears, Benson, McLaughlin. Great running back room. AJ Brown, Neighbors, Metcalf, Pickens, Hopkins, Shakir. A little bit thin with only 6, but need some huge games out of these guys. I think a lot like Pickens, Metcalf, Neighbors, Brown, they probably all have 40 points in the range of outcomes. Need them to do that a couple times over the season. Schultz, Fant, Dulcich, not the best tight end room in the world, but stacked for the most part. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me now. I got to get some food in my system. Got to get some activity in my life. And I got to do a bunch of drafts. I will probably be back tomorrow. We'll probably be back Thursday. Like, subscribe, join the Discord. I'll definitely I'm doing one more RT Sports stream, probably tonight or tomorrow. And I'm gonna try to bang out my DK draft so that I'm not on the clock for the end of time. And then Friday, we'll do some week 1 content. Peace out. Enjoy your day.